A very, very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very nice Sunday morning. My name is Chilpi. I'm the relationship manager with the Global Education and Training Institute. Welcome to a very interesting session on GETI Live Talk. Well, I have Miss Varsha Shah, who is the founder of Inner Strength Coaching. Now, what is this all about? It's all about leadership because she discovered it right 8 years after working with the corporates that she is not meant to obey orders, but to discover the leader inside her. Now, obeying orders doesn't mean that you are a rebel, but obeying order means that if the order, the leader is not the mentor, is not letting you grow, or you do not find anything new to learn, then you have to find your own way. Because as humans, our purpose in life is the if you talk it on a spiritual basis, it's self-realization, and the other thing is evolving. Because since prehistoric time, if you see, we have evolved, and that is the why we have existed. And the species, there are certain species who have become extinct because of this reason, because they did not evolve intellectually and physically as well. So, ma'am, welcome to our show. And the topic that you've chosen is a really interesting one. So, before I interact with you, I would like, to give a little, to highlight this before the parents and the teachers and school leaders who have joined us. What children actually want. Sometimes parents tell us when we are like, "Tumhe chahiye kya?" We have done so much for you. फिर भी चिल्लाते रहते हो, क्या चाहिए? So let's get the answer from you. What actually they want.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shilpi, for inviting me to this forum. It's an honor to be here. And the question that you asked me, what do children really want? Before that, I would want each and every parent or the teacher to ask, what do you want from the child? Because most of the time, what the child want is not understood, but what you want is imposed on the child. Okay. So what do children really want? Children or any individual, any grown up would want to connect with the inner self, would want to be nurtured in the way nature has created them. Okay. So today, if I have to say, every child, every student, even every grown up today is an outcome of the nature that the person has come on this planet with, and the nurturing, the environment that he got around the ecosystem. So any student when it culminates, a product is a product of the nature and the nurture. So if I have to say, let's say, if I have to say a child, the child would be what? A child would be ultimately a product of the school, the family, and the society. So the family comes the first, the home comes the first, then comes the school, and then comes the society. A child would learn from this. So what is that is happening around in the child? Is everything that is happening around the child inspiring the child to be the best potential? Is the student getting the specific modeling around his growth, wherein we are providing an environment to develop the skills, the attitudes, the values that is required? Is the education, which is a process, a learning process, allowing the student to secure the fullest potential? That is what we speak about. That is what the child would really want. To speak the full potential, to grow to the full potential. This is what the child really want. And but when it comes to parents, most of the time we see that what the child wants, more than that, it is what the parent wants. What the students wants, more than that, it is what the teacher or the school wants. What the child wants, more than that, it's what the society wants. So everything that's happening around the child is what I feel inspires the child to become a leader. So are we providing the ecosystem to become a leader, is my point of view in this discussion today. Okay. Let me take it forward. If I have to say today, okay, Shilpi, should I take it forward, Shilpi? You have another
Yes,
question?
ma'am. Yes, please, please.
Okay. Till she joins, let me say to all the attendees here, I would say one thing. You have to save your child from your own expectations, is what I would say. So, because what children want is allow them. allow them a say, allow them an environment which is safe. Okay, which will be like, self awareness is what has to happen within the child for effectiveness. So if I have to say, allow a safe environment to the child, is self awareness for effectiveness. But instead what is happening is, the environment is imposing certain things on the child. And if you look at the system of education, if you look at the families, and if you look at the society as a whole, whenever, like, if you take for instance a child, he gets into the school, the teacher would be having an x number of students in the class, and the model would be learning everything. So is the model based on the potential of the child? Okay, now let's the school evolves and creates a potential model. Are the parents willing to shift? Are the parents willing to shift to the new model? Because then you would have parents complaining, oh, the assessments are not happening, how would you evaluate my child? So this change, the entire change which is needed in the system of education, in the system of family, and the system of the society. Now today, most of the parents are opting for homeschooling. They are opting for no schooling. So wherein they're taking ownership of the child, they're allowing the child the freedom to learn, they're allowing the child the freedom to think, they're allowing the child the freedom to explore. Are we prepared for this? Because when you see a child which is getting homeschooled, is the society prepared for it? Okay, if the school changes its environment, is the society prepared for it? Because if the school allows a potential learning model, are we prepared for it? So the child really wants an environment, an ecosystem of freedom and for exploring the best potential. Shilpi, are you there? Yes, I think you're on mute, Shilpi.
Okay, so, ma'am, now that you have spoken about it, yes, what we were discussing offline, yes. Um, you know, is it that the parents should? I'm not saying that the parents should not have expectations from a child. Of course, they know what is best for the child. Sometimes it happens that, children have very big dreams, but they are not realistic. If somebody else is doing something, they want to follow the same path, but the parents best understand. So in that case, sometimes what happens, there's a clash between the parents. And yes, coming to the desires, pinning the desires of the parents on the child. For example, a parent says, I wanted to be a doctor, but I couldn't be because of maybe financial constraints or something. Now I want you to be a doctor. Okay, here comes a little balancing act, because if the parent knows also that the child is good enough to be a doctor, he can become a doctor, he's got all those skills, but the child doesn't want to be a doctor and he wants to be something else. So how do you then feel that, is it correct for the parents to convince the child to become a doctor, or is it that despite knowing that he can become a successful doctor, they still let him go and do what he wants?
Okay, that's a very good question actually, and which is happening throughout at every family. There are two concerns that one faces today. We see two sets of parents. One parent, which is even parents and educators who are inclined towards a child because the child is good at studies, has shown good results, and parents and the school is inclined towards guiding the child towards a field like, say, let's become a doctor. Okay, because अच्छे
Yeah.
marks hai, take it forward. There is another set of parent who says, how much ever marks my child gets, let my child do whatever he or she wants. In both the cases, the decisions are not very right. Okay, I would say why? Because in the first case, where the child is securing good marks, we are expecting the child to be successful into the specific area because we are going with the logical intelligences of the child. But at the same time, if another set of parent who says, I'll allow my child to do anything, here again the child is not in complete awareness of what is the real skill set or the real potential of the child. In both the cases, we will see ambiguity. We see ambiguity because the first case, the assessment, the understanding of the child's potential is based on the grades, or the child is not actually inclined towards that particular field, but the decision is getting made based on the grades of the child. And in the other side, where the child's skill sets are, the parents are unaware of, and the child himself or herself is unaware of. So what I usually suggest, since I work a lot on leadership with students and even grown-ups, and when I help them understand their strengths, and understand what is the core potential, because every individual is a product ultimately of nature, as I said. That means the person comes with a set of potential abilities, born with the behavior and born with the abilities. So if we
You
do
know,
not know
this
how to,
was this ma'am, this was my second question that I just said. I was about to ask you, are skills important, or is it that degree is important? You know, parents, you know, like, for example, a child is good at something, skills, but then the parents are like, you know, but you know, you don't have a degree in it. So I think
okay,
you are connecting to it, skills and
yes,
education.
yes, I will connect both the questions now. Since you asked the first question, I'll complete it and take you to the second as well,
Yes,
because it's a
yes, yes.
connected question. So when I said, if a child is born with a particular potential, so are we providing the ecosystem for the child's potential to be nurtured, so that the child himself or herself understands this is what I am very good at. So considering the ecosystem where the child enters, like, see, when the child is born, first 3 years at home, then the school, 16 years out of school, then the college, and at 21, we see youth at 21 who are completely unaware of where they want to head. And after 21, then we see youth going for higher studies. Now this is a cycle, which is non-ending. And whereas we see so many successful people with no degrees, college dropouts, so what, and
Yes,
also they are very
yes.
good leaders. They are leaders in their particular areas. They are inspirations for people. So is degree a real factor contributing to the leadership model? Is your question coming to? So when I say the first two cases where I said, when the student has good marks, but and the parents are pushing the child to becoming a doctor, let's say a profession as a doctor, any instance profession, and in the second one the child is not sure about where the child would head, both the cases will be disaster, a pure disaster. Because in the first case the child doesn't want to do it, in the second case the child doesn't actually know what the child is good at, because the child is a product of an environment that we have provided
Yeah.
for 21 years, where the child is still not sure. The child has learned everything, what we call the jack of all, and the child is still not sure about what is that one skill or that one potential in which, if the child works, or that one intelligence or two intelligences combination in which the child can take it forward and make it a successful career, a
Yes.
successful life. So when you take it to the leadership model of education, as are degrees important? See, degrees would contribute. Degrees, the
Yes.
certifications contribute, because what happens, what is a certification? Now let's say, if I have to quote, not verbatim, but I would just want to say, there is a famous American psychologist by the name of B.F. Skinner. Okay,
Hmm.
and he very clearly said that everything that we do, and what we are determined to do, comes out of the past experiences, comes out of the history of the rewards and punishments that we have got. Okay, so a person basically is an outcome of the past experiences of the rewards and punishments, because what we are and what we determine or what we move forward is what happens to us in the past. So if I have earned good grades and I have got rewards there, then I aim towards it. I want to do it, I want to do it, I'm doing it for the reward, but is it something that I really like doing? Is it something which I will always aim for? Is unclear. So if you're, when I, or is it that I'm doing it to avoid pain? Like, if I don't get good marks, my parents are going to be angry with me. If I don't get good marks, my school, if I'm the topper in my school, I will go on the fifth row, which I don't want to do. So that's a pain which I wish to avoid. So I will push myself to get good grades. So when I push myself to get good grades, then that means, am I really working on my best potential, or am I just pushing myself to the end where I get tired? When the student gets tired, the student gets frustrated, and you must have seen students, they current purely drop what they have done. Like, I have seen people dropping their LLBs and their medicine and their CAs. They drop it completely, they drop it after putting so many years into it. So why does that
Yeah.
happen? Why does that happen? So is it the degree? So degree, now this person would have a LLB or a doctor or a CA, the degree is there. So degrees are not everything, but degrees are important. They are important because when you are at a particular juncture, that those degrees will help you. Okay, this is what I have done, because certainly, if anybody, if they wish to do something, there's a system which the world follows. Probably your degree becomes a key to enter that world.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, ma'am, this is what I wanted to connect to the next question. We see so many these days children are stuck to the YouTube, and YouTube has actually become a fad, I think, since the pandemic started. Now, sometimes my students tell me when I say that, you need to study, they say, but Bill Gates, but they start naming people who are actually on a very good position, millionaires, and they say they don't have a degree. So why? I don't think education is important. So, now here comes in that, education is important because that was their destiny. I do tell them that, look at the entire world, look at the entire population. There are so many people who are uneducated. Are they all Bill Gates? Are they all those millionaires? Because somewhere destiny also strikes, luck is also, being at the right place at the right time. Now that is intelligence, that you are making the opportunity work for you at the right time. So education, now would you like to give some suggestions to our, yeah, connecting to the same thing that you're saying, that education is important. Everybody who is a millionaire doesn't mean that you need to lack education. It can be in the field of your interest. Bill Gates did study, maybe not in a formal school, but then he in the garage, wherever he was, he did study the field of his interest. It wasn't just that he had a dream and one day he woke up and he was Bill Gates, right? So can you just go ahead and reflect on that also, continuing with what you were saying?
Yes. See, I would take it forward from where we left, and putting this together also on the certification. Now, let me put it together for everybody today, including students to grown-ups. Everybody loves to eat burgers. You agree? So when somebody goes, like, children enjoy eating burgers. So do they take a soft drink along with it? It goes hand in hand. They enjoy, the whole meal gets enjoyed when they're going with the burger and the soft drink together. So that's how it is. The flavor, the entire taste, the satisfaction of what you've had comes when you have both the things together. Okay, these children and even parents and teachers would connect. So this is how your degrees work. This is how it works. Degree is important, okay, because that is your stepping stone to the next level. It is like you're playing a computer game. You clear one level and then only you can go to the next level. So let's say if the society, the system is made up in levels, so you need to clear that level to the next level. So that is your key to the next level. The degree becomes the key to the next level. But while you're playing the computer game, or what are you doing? You are enhancing your skills. You are enjoying that computer game, and that's why you're working on it. You're going to the next level because you're enjoying the whole process. Okay, somebody who doesn't enjoy the process will drop the game. We will not take it forward. So when you're working towards your degree, take a degree in the area that you enjoy working the most. Because if you take a degree in an area where you do not want it or you do not enjoy it, then it becomes a work. Because most of the successful people in the world will say they never worked even a single day of their life. They have not worked because they have enjoyed what they have done, so they have not worked. It is like eating the burger with the soft drink and or playing a computer game for them because they're enjoying the whole process. So when you're enjoying the process, having multiple degrees may look seems like just a ice cream cone, just just gulping an ice cream. One degree is one ice cream if you enjoy it. But if you don't enjoy it, you it's like eating a vegetable which you hate eating. So when you hate a vegetable and you're forced to eat it, then the child is going to be puking it out. And that is exactly what happens when the child pukes up the degrees. Learns, gulps, 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 and then pukes and gives it up. So instead, if the child takes up a course which is hand in hand with the potential of the child would not feel pushed towards it. The child would enjoy it. So that is the whole programming that has to shift. The shift has to happen to understand what is the inner core of my child. What is that behavior of my child which I need to understand? If needed, take help from experts. Like I work with so many people. Take help, understand, take somebody who can guide you on what is your child's inner potential, and then put your child to the specific learning model. Because when you spoke about Bill Gates, his learning happened outside school, because learning is a continuous process. Personal growth is a continuous process. So if I have to ask, if there was a university which could have certified him, then probably he was a PhD into whatever he did. So but then we didn't have a university at that point of time to certify what he did. So he's a PhD into whatever he's done. He's taken efforts, he's worked, he's studied, he's put time.
Yeah,
It was only that
exactly, exactly.
whatever he learned doesn't fit into the specific educational system. That's it. Else he's a PhD into whatever he did. So if even if you take a Hussain, if you take an MF Hussain, what is the qualification? So if you take the expertise, So he would be a double doctorate and an MPhil and whatever you call in the education industry. So that is what he is all about. So when a student understands, even a grown up today who's struggling in midlife career crisis is probably as a product where the person has worked on the weakness. It's like gulping the vegetable which I don't enjoy eating and puking it out time and again. So children have to be guided to the potential learning. That is what I would say. Basically, securing a model of learning outside the geographies, the social geographies, outside the national boundaries, outside the age limits. Like, today the open learning model even allows student at a younger age to give the higher examinations. So the boundaries of age also should be eliminated, and parents should be prepared for this. And the society should be open for this. Allow the fundamental aim for education, which is securing the fullest potential in the person, and everybody goes for a degree, everybody completes it and is happy. I
All
hope I
right. So
answered.
now coming to yeah, sure. We all are have understood exactly, and I think you have very correctly answered my question. How education is important, and all those students who are listening right now should understand that. Um, Ma'am, now coming to your part, leadership. Is it that leadership only means when you lead a team, or is it that leadership means when you are able to discover your skills and evolve with it? Because we have to understand that in the entire world, if everybody starts thinking, oh, I am not made for a certain job, I will not do a job, I will have something of my own, if everybody starts thinking that way, the world is not going to work. All right. So, leadership in that sense, does it only mean that you have to lead, or is it that you're discovering your own skills and seeing how you are improving day by day?
Okay, it's very interesting again. See, a leadership is a position which you feel comfortable in. Okay, now before I take it forward, I'll cite an example. Let's take the mother of the house. Okay, children would invite their friends at home, and they tell their, like, let's take teenagers. They would say, "Mummy, two friends of mine are going to come over for food," and then you see 10 children coming up. And now what does the mother do at that point of time? She would manage to create resources and make all these kids happy by providing whatever they want. So she stood up to the leadership position, took up responsibility, created the resources, and worked to the best potential that she is capable of to deliver the results. And ultimately, people whom she catered to are happy. So she gave an experience of fulfillment to the people who came there, and she is happy as well by delivering this. She is not sad or tired or angry. Probably you see mothers, after serving food to the children, they will come and enjoy with them as well. So that means they are enjoying that space. So that space also is a leadership. That's a situational leader. The mother becomes the situational leader at that point of time. So leadership is a position where you feel you're comfortable in. So leadership is an ongoing process of learning. Leadership also evolves, but it is the confidence within you that, okay, I can bring out this change. Leadership does not require anything but understanding your core potential. This is I'm good at, and this is what I can work into. Leadership can be situational, leadership can be transactional, leadership can be transformational. So when you are into a leadership position, when you're transacting through a process, let's say managers in the organization, they're transacting a process. So if you're getting something done, teachers are transactional leaders. They're creating something. They're transactional leaders. Now, if you have to take people who have transformed the world, let's take, when we speak about Mahatma Gandhi, he's a transformational leader. He saw, he could see what he wants, and he created it. He stood for it. So leadership is a thought. Leadership is something that you believe into. Leadership is not given to you. Leadership is taken. Leadership is a responsibility.
Um, so coming to this, leadership, and then one little thing that these days is very common with children, um, youngsters, is I want to do an MBA because I want a startup. All right, the startup thing is also very into fashion these days. I have an MBA and I have a start. I'm going to go for a startup. And again, as I was talking offline, so many motivational speakers in the world are there who say, you can start off without money. You just need to have passion, and need to have this and that, and all those tips that they give. So many youngsters even come to me and they say, I want this degree because I want to do a startup. Now, is in this case how this leadership is different from the others? Is it that you just need to have MBA gives you that kind of a skill? It gives you how to plan your strategies and how to do things logically without getting lost. And the other thing is then, is it that just passion is required and interest is required, and the child says, I'm ready to stay awake night after night and work for it? Is it all? Or that no, you need rational also, and some kind of analysis, that what I'm going to do is looking at the future 10 years ahead, how is it going to be fruitful? Can you just elaborate on it?
Sure. Okay. Somebody who gets motivated and comes across saying, I want to get into a startup and I want to do an MBA. Again, it comes from a belief system. A belief system and a dependency. Like, I have studied in my school and I acquired 10th. Okay. After 10th, I'm feeling incomplete. So I want to take it forward. I want to do my 12th. After my 12th, still I am incomplete. I want to take it to my graduation. After my graduation, I'm still incomplete. I want to take it to my MBA. Okay, so now I feel the feeling of completion has not happened. The belief system is I am still not complete, I have still to learn, I'm still not confident, I cannot do things without the future degrees. Degrees are important, I agree, but you have to realize till when do you need those degrees and when you want to really set going. You cannot be sitting and cleaning your car and decorating your car. Sometimes you have to sit, start and go, then only you enjoy the ride. You cannot be saying let me do this, let me do that, and then I will start. Then comes a time when you will not enjoy the car drive. Okay, so doing an MBA is good if you want to. Now what happens in higher education is people with experience come and share their experiences. They give you the skills, they help you learn with whatever experiences they came from. So that helps you polish your skills, that helps you enhance your experience. So higher degrees, higher qualifications will enhance. But prior to that, you should know you really want to do this. Do you really have the skills to go for this? Like when you sit across into a MBA class and you're getting a lesson on financial management, then are you really inclined towards financial management? Do you really want to make a career into it? Or it's that somebody told you, you're still searching for it. So when it comes to people or students, even grown-ups who are unclear, again I would say they have to search within. They have to work into a safe environment. When I say safe environment is self-awareness for effectiveness. They have to be safe within themselves, they have to be self-aware for effectiveness. So when they are not self-aware, they are not effective. And why this happens, even parents, like when child goes to the school from the beginning, the observation is to make the child good in everything. So when the child is getting trained for being good in everything, so even the weaknesses and the strengths come to par, they become equal. The child has work on this. If a child is weak in a particular subject, we send the child for tuitions. So the child's weakness is enhanced, worked upon, and the strength is ignored because the child is good at it. And what are we doing? We are bringing them to par. And that happens everywhere. That's happening in the system. So when we do that, that's the same child which grows and wants to do an MBA because still unclear what is my strength, what is my weakness. And this child, even after doing an MBA, would say, okay, I don't want to do this, I don't want to start up. That was just a thought at that point of time. And you see these people still struggling. So MBA is good. Any higher study is good when you are inclined towards it and you are completely aware of yourself and you say, yes, this is for me and I want to do it. So it's that you're investing, it's not only investing money, you're investing your precious time, which is valuable than money. So when you're investing your precious time and you want to take it forward to the career, but still you're unclear, then the MBA is not going to help you. And when we speak about people who do not have degrees and still have people who do not have degrees, but they have still succeeded in their careers, these are the people who knew what they want. So for them, they knew that for them whatever they did was equivalent to an MBA or a PhD, as I said. But they're knowing what I want to do. The parent and the teacher identifying the potential of the student being able to express, okay, this is what I really want. A system where the main potential of the child gets nurtured, then these confusions will not happen. The confusions are happening because still no clarity between after years. And somewhere that belief system, that education, after I do this, things will end and then I will do something new. Whereas education is not the end, education is the beginning. of a new learning. Education is something where you start, you come there to learn something new. You cannot be confused at this juncture. You should know what you want to learn, and this is what is that you want to take it forward in your life. Which is that flavor of ice cream which you would enjoy eating your whole life and will not feel like you worked. That is what has to be identified before you take up any higher education. But yes, education degrees, at least to the minimal that is required, should be completed, so that you don't get blocked anywhere because of some beyond control measures. And unless you have
Last
that
question.
started, unless you're younger and you started and you're already doing the miracles, then it's your decision and you're satisfied with it. Like a Sachin Tendulkar is satisfied with whatever he's done and whatever he's doing, and then it's fine. If he doesn't want to take it forward, it's perfectly fine. And there and even our system has open universities, open schooling systems where you can take it forward if you want to, when you know what is your core potential and you want to take it forward in that particular area of your life. So knowing that particular area of your life, knowing what is that one thing that you want to take it forward in your life, is the key to a successful career, is a key to understanding what your child really wants.
So, ma'am, the last question, in this context would be like, but yeah, um, is it that these days, like youngsters, they frequently change their jobs,
Mm-hmm.
because either because of they want an increment or either because they want a higher role, and the parents are like, stay there, stability is important. So is it that wrong to change a job frequently because you feel sometimes I've seen people, uh, even I feel it sometimes it is necessary. That's because you have done something, you have achieved a certain thing that you wanted to. Now there's nothing more exciting to do and you feel that your potential is not being harped upon, then you want to change. So is it wrong that the youngsters are doing it after 2 to 3 years, or this way, or is it that no, you have to be there, stability is important because that will lead to a further growth?
Okay.
I mean, this is the clash, parents have with young people because they do not understand this. Why this person is so frequently thinking of changing the jobs? Why isn't he happy? Because maybe everything around him is okay. The working environment, the bosses, everything is good enough. But still, he wants to because he says, oh, I'm not getting very exciting things here.
Okay. Okay, let me put it like this. When a parent has observed the child, from childhood, the parent would have observed, like we are speaking about an individual who's working now, right? So the parent would have observed this individual as a child, when the child must be spending lot of time, like, enjoying to be in a particular space. Like, sometimes some children spend time in the kitchen with their mothers. Some children spend time drawings and doing so many things. So whatever the child is enjoying doing, the child will continue doing it almost every day for a particular time and is in a good space. And when the child is made to do a particular thing which the child doesn't like, the child will give excuses, the child will decline doing it, the child will create tantrums, and the parent will have problem there. Okay, so let's take the same understanding forward when the person is in a particular job. Now what happens is, when a person gets into a job, probably in the beginning it's anxiety or social pressure or parental pressure to get working. Okay, so whatever comes my way, I take it, I start doing it. Or probably somebody has told me that you're good into it, you're good into it, you do it, like we spoke about the doctor. The parent said you're good into it, now you become a doctor. Now let's say the person has taken it and the doctor gets a job into a government hospital with a secured job. Okay, now parents will say, you have qualified for a doctor, you've studied so many years, we spent so much time on you, we've invested on you, and now you're into a government job, it's a secure job, why you want to live it, why you just don't quit, be there, you will get so many other perks. Now this person, did he really want to do it in the beginning? Then now I said some time back, like, if somebody is doing something which is not up to the potential, the person may not be able to take it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes. Yes. You can just wait for her for a minute. We're about to end this
Oh, sorry.
conversation. Here
There
she
was a
is.
fluctuation. Yeah, there was a fluctuation. Sorry. I was saying, when a parent, like, when this child becomes a doctor and, already into the job. Now, we spoke about some time back that when the person is not happy doing what the person is doing, then the person is going to go through a pain. Now, this person tried to pull it for some number of years. The person is pulling it for some number of years, trying to do it. Okay. But then how long can the person drag it? How long? And then the person will start giving excuses that I'm not getting promotions, probably I'm not able to handle the pressure. And that the person looks, what is the best way to move out of is change the job. Then now this doctor, who's not allowed by the parents to give up the job, will shift the job, will go to some other hospital for time being. The time being is also, okay, chalo, like this time now I'm getting a break, let me go somewhere, spend some time and relaxation. Again, the pressure will build up. Again, everything starts demanding when he or she is not able to cater to. And this would live a life of frustration. And some point of time, the person will give it up. Some point of time, the person will give it up, will go out irrespective, and then that creates a big clash between the parents and the person, because the person is getting forced to do what the person is not enjoying to do. It's the same tendency of the parent, where I say save the child from yourself, where the
Yeah.
parent forces the child to eat what the parent says, to do what the parent says. Okay. Or the society which forces the person, like, the child would start thinking, oh, if I don't do this, people would say this, say that. The peer pressure and everything affects. So any career where the person is hopping, the person is either working on the weaknesses, or the person is working in an area where the person doesn't enjoy it at all. That is when a person will let go of it. Else you would see people would never leave their careers, even they are not even, like, they would work into it for years together. Years together they would be into the profession and grow into that profession. So, if I have to cite an example, like, since we are on the Getty platform, let's cite Dr. Jagdish Gandhi into this profession. Years on years, loves it, enjoys it, and I respect him so much, because I don't think he thinks he's working. For years, he's been doing it. He's got a transformation into the education system. So, a leader by all terms, somebody who transformed, somebody who started, somebody who believed into what he wants. And so nobody, there was nobody to support him with those few kids,
No.
5 kids or something he started
Five,
up.
five, five. Yeah,
Yeah,
five.
I have been following him through so much. So this person didn't have the support, didn't have the money, but still knew what he likes to do, and he continued doing it against all odds. And for years he's been doing it in the same profession. Now it's like eating that ice cream which he enjoys eating. He can continue eating it. This person is not even thinking of.
Yeah, this is what, I think it's like, the deaf frog. If you
Yes.
remember, there's a short story of the deaf frog that when you are, that frog was trying to jump a wall, and the rest of the frogs were telling you can't do it, it's too high. But he thought that they are encouraging him because he was deaf, and he
Yes.
did leap over the wall. So
Yes.
that's what I agree, that sometimes under the pressure of our parents or under the pressure of society, we sometimes continue doing things which suffocate us. And then later on in our life, we realize that, oh, I should have made a decision at that time. I should have
True.
taken the step at that time to do something. So, yes, and these stories, like you just mentioned, Dr. Gandhi, these stories are like, it's that they are real. Yeah,
They're real.
sometimes we read about people, but these are real stories,
These
and
are
they
people
just
we are
tell
seeing,
us,
living. These are people we live with. They are around us. They are
yes,
inspiring.
yes,
Like, they are real life examples. We are living. We are feeling them. We, touch feel factor jo hota hai for students. That is what is happening with them
huh,
around.
huh,
So, living example.
yeah,
So that's where, when you are connected with your core, when you know what I want to do, that he is a giver, a transformational leader on the giver mode. So when he's a
yes.
transformational giver mode, for him giving is easy, very easy to give, and he doesn't think it's a pain. So giving doesn't give him pain, but giving gives him pleasure. So I said reward and punishment. So giving is a reward for him, so he lives, he's growing it, and that is exactly what a successful leader would do. So a leadership in any student can be mentored if the parent allows that space of being safe, self awareness for effectiveness.
So, ma'am, in the end, would you like to summarize by giving certain qualities that a child can look within himself and what are the qualities that he can develop if he wants to go on this path. Anybody, not just students, anyone, professionals also who are listening to us, who have just joined us, and they are also there. Everybody, is in search of their own self, especially when we have so much of time during the pandemic. We are at home and we have time. So what are those qualities that either we have or are we lacking, but still we have the urge to be a leader?
Okay. For everyone who has the urge to be a leader, first thing first is believe in yourself. Because if you're getting those thoughts, then first thing that you have to do, the world may believe or not, you believe in your own self. The moment you start believing in your own self, then only can you tell the world that this is what I want to do. If you are
Yeah.
not believing, then you will deviate from whatever you have done. That's the first thing. So if you have the feeling that I am a leader, then believe. Secondly, you allow yourself to take a decision. Okay, believe in and take a decision. Because if you want to do something and the world says no, this is not the right thing to do today, but you think you want to do it, do it. Like we spoke about Bill Gates. So did he have a situation where everybody would have told him do this? No, probably he worked in a situation where things were against, but he took a decision to work, right? So he believed into what he was doing and he took a decision of what he wants to do. And thirdly, try to work on the skills that you connect with the most. Something within you, like you may be having intelligence, like since I work with so many people and I help them out with it, understanding what is their core. So try to connect with a mentor, because a mentoring is important in your life at every juncture when you are into a state of confusion. Whenever you are into a state of confusion, and if you are with people around you who know you for years, then probably you will get emotional inputs and certain inputs which would be more of fear, out of fear, like people who would guide you out of fear. Don't do this, probably you would fail. Okay,
Oh
a
yes,
child
oh yes, they are in
says
majority. They are in
they
majority.
love you. Fear is the other side of love. They love you so much, so they're fearful that you should not go through any pain. So it's good faith, but then you are guided by fear. So when you're guided by fear, you're going to go in the wrong direction. Then you're guided by emotions. Like my mother or my father lives in this particular city, so I can't live that city. I have to be there. Then you're guided by emotions. Then when you're guided by emotions, you probably would not take a decision. Hence, you need a mentor who understands you and would guide you to this is what you should do and this is where you should head in your life. So first thing, as I said, you have to understand and believe in yourself, take a decision, take a mentor, and start working on the skills that are very, very core in within you, which you connect with. Something that you feel, okay, I'm very good at people skill. So connect with the people skill and take yourself there. If you think I'm very good at spatial intelligence, I know, I understand, take it forward. If you think I am somebody who can get things done and I am somebody who can be put on a task and I will take it to the completion, then work on it. Understand your core. The moment you understand, and this only needs a space where you list down, everybody would know what I don't want to do. Just sit down and write down what you want to do. What you don't want to do, okay, once for all sit down and write all that you don't want to do. Once and for all, write it and finish it. This is what I don't want to do in my life. But also then sit and write what is that I want to do in my life, and who is that one person whom I can connect with, who can help me understand how do I take it forward. Even for parents, if they are confused with their students, this is what they should do. They should understand what is their confusion about, what are they worried about. Are they having a FOMO, fear of missing out on something for their child? Are they fearing
Yes.
things for is it a reality or is it their thought? Is it something that is coming to them with their past experiences? What is happening? A parent who's failed in the past is fearful that my child should not fail in the future. So what is happening? So when a parent is coming with a thought, then the parent again should take help to understand, is the child a problem, is the parent a problem? Is the child really having a concern, or is the parent who is creating a concern? That is important, because many times child is sorted, but the parents expectations are huge. And then the child gets, like, the suicide cases which we listen to about children. That is where the parent has not given a good listening. The parent has
Ma'am,
only
it's not just children and even youngsters. You hear so much of suicide. People in 40s, because 40s is an age where, life takes a new turn. And then at that point of time, I've heard people, um, out of frustration killing themselves because they could not do what they wanted to do, because they had to lead a family, or they had to fulfill responsibilities, or
Yes.
they thought that now it's too late for me to so that is what I yes I was wanting you to conclude with, that is age a factor, or is age just a number, as we hear? Can a person
Age is,
still turn a new leaf?
yes, anytime. Let's take the KFC model. Let's take the McDonald model. Ray Kroc is
Yes.
53. Let's take Abraham
Yes.
Lincoln. And so we take any stories, even if we talk like children read Harry Potter. And when they read Harry Potter, the author has herself gone through a depression. So it's like,
Very.
it's no, age is not a bar, situation is not a bar. Anything happening around you is not a bar. If you are blaming everything around you, then you are unclear about what you want. It's only an excuse. If you're blaming people
Exactly.
around, the excusing mode, you're excusing yourself, you're just not being responsible. Because when you can't take responsibility of your own self, what responsibility can anybody expect from you? So when, as a grown up, if you have to take responsibility of yourself, it's like, if you are responsible, let's take a young couple. When they become responsible to have a child, they have a child in their life. So when they have a child, that's when they decide they're responsible enough to nurture a baby. They're responsible enough to bring the baby to this world. That responsibility is important when you get the child into this world. Similarly, your brainchild, your idea, something that you want to execute, can be done only when you take responsibility of the execution. When you take responsibility, when you can convince your parents or convince the society. And when I say convincing, is before you go and speak to anyone, you have to first believe in your own self. When you believe it, can you
So,
execute
ma'am,
it?
is
When
it
you believe
necessary to convince if the other party is not ready to be convinced? Is it that we need to convince, or is it that we can just go ahead? We can try once and go ahead.
Okay, let's put it here. If Mahatma Gandhi would have thought that people are not going to be ready for lathi charges, let me go ahead alone, would he succeed? He needed people around, people who believe into him. So when I say convincing, is not breaking your head on people who would not understand you at all. But then you have to find people who believe into you. You have to go and speak to people, because leadership is not a sole position. It's a team. Leadership is collaboration. Leadership is when you can communicate well and collaborate with people. Leadership cannot be alone. It cannot be your self place. Then it's like, you close yourself into a room and say, I'm a leader. Nobody knows you. So if people have to know you, you have to collaborate. When people have to know you, convincing is not convincing to allow you something, because you don't need to be allowed. Convincing is when you allow yourself. When you have taken a decision and you are ready to allow yourself, then going and speaking to people. If something stops you, then it's just your ego or your fear. If something is stopping you, if something is stopping you, but if you believe in what you want to do, then yes, somebody may oppose, which is fine, but then you believe it. So take it forward. So when you know your core, it's I am since the beginning saying, allow the person, allow the student, the grown up, or whoever it is, at any point of life, feels I am feeling blocked, feels that I am not on the journey of my self potential, feels I'm still not the fuller being that I am here on this planet for, then that person has to understand what is that thing that can push the person ahead, what is that inner quality that the person is born with, which probably the ecosystem has not allowed the person to work on. So if the ecosystem around you is not nurturing your born potential, identify it, understand the skills that you have earned till now, and see what can be culminated and what is that one thing that you can create. And that for that, you have to be on that journey of self awareness.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was such a lovely discussion that we were having, an unending process, of course, if we go into the depths of it. So, thank you for making our Sundays so, interesting, and that everybody's now got a food for thought.
Shilpi, sorry I'm interrupting, but this is something which I love doing. So I would go on for hours. We can discuss on this topic, but this is again
Yes,
something that I love
yes.
doing. So when you love doing something, the universe helps you. It conspires to make you grow as a leader. You have to
Yeah.
just know what you love doing.
Colos book the alchemist. So
Yes.
yeah, so
Yes.
yes, ma'am. So I mean, you've given a very good food for thought for people today who have been watching us, that at least today they'll be sitting back and thinking about their lives and what they actually want out of it. That is, before leadership, that is the core thing what you have been what I have focused is that one thing you were going on banking on is the core of
Yes.
being ourselves. Yes, and the
Yes.
last thing that you summed up with is, yes, is our ecosystem allowing us to connect us with the core? And
Yes.
so by the end of our lives, we don't want to regret that, I missed out on it. you know
Yes.
so
True.
thank you so much. And I think we can sum it up that, if you want to discover your core, you need to even develop your spiritual side, because that side connects you to who you are and the purpose of your life. So you need to sit still, what we call in Zen philosophy. You need to be mindful about who you are, and doing every activity with mindfulness, creating clarity, taking out the clutter, just like clean your room and everything every weekend. So I think this is a kind of a exercise that we can do, decluttering our mind, becoming more mindful, sitting 10 minutes a day just to think about ourselves. And that is the process of meditation. That is the process of stability. And especially, I'm focusing towards the youngsters who have been very keenly watching us, that, learn to sit without doing anything for at least
True.
2 minutes.
True.
Just don't do anything, don't think anything, and give yourself that space just of being yourself. And then, you will start feeling that hyperness, that hyperactivity all the time. What do I do, what do I do? You will start feeling that calmness within. I think I'm right. You are the mentor. I think I'm on the right path. And then by and by, you will see that your mind is becoming focused on what you want actually. So
True.
instead of, jumping into the water straight, it's like sitting near the sea, seeing how shallow or deep it is. That builds foresightedness, which is a mark of a leader. You
True.
just cannot jump into something without knowing where it is going to. Then how can you lead the others if you
True.
do not know where you are going to? So therefore, at least you should know your short term goals, if not long term.
True.
At least you should know what you are going to wake up next morning to, instead of like 1 week ahead. At least that much
Very-
we can do to ourselves. So thank you, ma'am. You've actually ignited us and all of us that. And
Thank you so much.
once again, we'll see if we have something very, very interesting for, the youngsters who are so much into, I want to do this in my life. I don't want to do a job. I want to be a business person. I want to have my own startup, make millions and all that. So how does all that happen? I know it's a very vast topic, and we would like you to take it up the next time we meet once again.
Sure. 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 I would be again connecting, and I would love to offer whatever I could to benefit the students, the teachers, and the parent community. Thank you so much, Shilpi.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
You too.